Well, turns out that the title of my last episode did not age well. Or we'll just have to see further down the road. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Titans Rundown. I'm your host, Micah McCamey, and I know that I said that I was delivering one episode with a heavy heart just 2 weeks ago, but this week I truly am delivering it with a heavy heart. That was truly awful. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen the Tennessee Titans play. But anyway, before we get into everything that I want to discuss, let's go into the segment, infamous segment of these episodes where I talk about something else that's not NFL, that's not Titans related. I'll talk about stuff that's going on around the NFL or in college football or in my personal life. So, today we got something going on around the NFL. Now, I know this may sound wild. Josh Dobbs just got his first win with the Cardinals. How? I have no clue. It was against the Cowboys, who are okay. I know that everyone hates them, but they're a good team. That's just the truth. But I still am so surprised that about how well Josh Dobbs is playing with the Cardinals. Like, he has been a very solid quarterback for them, which makes me kind of upset that we cut him because then if we did keep him, maybe we would have an easier time benching Tannehill. Now, I'm not saying that we should, or at least that we should have, but you know, after we get into this week, after we get into what happened this week, you'll see. But anyway, you know, uh, yeah, Josh Dobbs has been playing amazing, and I'm really happy for him. The Cardinals have honestly been kind of surprising because don't get me wrong, they're still bad, but they're not as horrible as everyone was expecting them to be. Like, hopefully they don't just completely screw up the tank job. I mean, who knows? Maybe since Caleb Williams doesn't want to play for Arizona, they just were like, forget the tanking. Let's just play our hearts out and see what comes out of it. That wouldn't surprise me, honestly. But yeah, feel happy for Josh Dobbs and really hoping that he can do some other stuff. Right as we speak right now, the Eagles are playing the can't remember who the Eagles are playing, but the Bengals are playing the Rams. So both of those games should be at least somewhat entertaining. Uh, but anyway, you know, uh, Joe Burrow was questionable to play tonight. Honestly, I'm feeling a little bit better about next week than I was feeling about this week, but we'll get into that in a few minutes. But anyway, so yeah, believe that's gonna wrap up that segment. If you watched for if you watched that entire segment, thank you. And if you are skipping, then this is the point where I talk about the Titans. So, let's talk about the Titans. Golly, there's not a lot of positive things to say. Dude, Myles Garrett made that offensive line look 10 times worse than it actually was. Now, I'm not saying that the O line isn't bad, because let's be real, they are one of the worst in the league. Bottom 5, maybe even bottom 3. But, golly, man. I've been feeling a little under the weather recently, so sorry if I am a little bit more, snotty than usual, but, you know, it just really upsets me whenever I watch my Titans get crushed like that, because it doesn't happen that often. Like, even in the years that were bad, we're usually at least competitive in most of our games. Like, okay, the Eagles is an exception to that rule, but in every other game last year, we were at least competitive. We took the Chiefs to overtime. We We almost beat the Chargers. Uh, and oh yeah, the Bills last year. Forgot to mention those guys, but like apart from that, we were pretty competitive in most of the games. It's just we just didn't have the motor to finish it off. But like, that was really not good. Still stand by Tim Kelly. And also, for goodness sakes, I'm not too sure what bitter person decided to start that rumor about Mike Vrabel on the hot seat. He's not. He is gonna be fine. Um, it's not like he is. It's not like he is gonna get fired after this year. He needs a year of roster rearrangement, like complete roster rearrangement. Like we barely had any salary cap last year, and we had to cut a lot of people. So we're gonna have we're gonna have a lot of money next year. So like, but anyway, again, not trying to just immediately look forward to next year. This year, even after that loss, we could still make a turnaround and do some other things where like we could get like a big win and just everyone gets behind Vrabel and we just start winning. That would be. I'm not too sure if that is going to happen, but it definitely could. Like if we beat the Bengals next week, then maybe we go on a little bit of a streak. Like the team starts getting a little warm and everything. Oh yeah. Also, I heard this amazing point recently about how bad John Robinson was. So our biggest problems yesterday, well, at the time as of the time I'm recording this, were left tackle and our number one cornerback. You want to know what positions John Robinson missed on in the draft? A left tackle and a number one cornerback. Like, man, the stench that guy left behind for the Tennessee Titans, and how he got away with it for so many years because people thought he was good because Vrabel was making him look better at his job than he actually was, is just so shocking. But man, I'm really hoping that like Vrabel really gives the guys a piece of his mind, because like if we don't turn around soon, things could get pretty ugly. I mean, you know, I'm down to get Caleb, because like, and plus, I feel like that Caleb would be more comfortable declaring for the draft for the Titans than he would be for the Cards. Just a thought. Now, I know that that's going to sound biased by me, but like, better coaching staff, better overall team, even though the team's not really that talented. It's just, Vrabel tends to get the most out of his guys. But, yeah, um, dude, like, I don't know what else to say apart from how awful it was. Let me try and think of some bright spots. Okay, the run defense had one or two hiccups, but it was pretty good. You know, uh, linebackers were okay. Sean Murphy Bunting still looks great. It's just Christian Fulton is still trying to fill the void of a number one corner, which he's not done a good job of. But like, yeah, and the defensive line still gets to the QB. Like, that's just the truth. It's just defensive backs don't give them any time to, potentially sack him because they're too busy lollygagging in the backfield. And I told everyone that we were going to crush them in this game. Because after Nick Chubb got hurt, I thought, oh, it's about to get ugly next week. Derrick Henry's about to run all over their face. But I stayed blind to the one thing that the Browns had, and it was that D line, that ferocious Myles Garrett. He lived in my nightmares last night. It was awful. He was a nightmare, ironically. Dude. Ugh. I think that this is where I let out a little bit more emotion about this game. Because honestly, like, I stayed a little bit more calm about it. Because I kind of stopped watching after, like, halfway through the fourth because I knew it was over. But, like, golly, just please don't let this be like last year. I mean, it will be less painful than last year was because instead of us looking like we're going to be a playoff team, we know that we're going to be bad. If that does end up being the case, but like, dude, we need to turn around against Cincinnati, which would be very hard to do because we have a losing streak against Cincinnati ever since Joe Burrow got into the league. We'll say this though, Joe Burrow has not looked that great. So, uh, what other positives were there to take out of this game? D Hop made some nice catches. The receiver core looked like they were getting a little bit better. Traylon still hasn't shown me enough development to be like, oh yeah, he's going to be our guy of the future, which I really thought he was going to. But like, you know, D Hop again still looked great. Chris Moore made an amazing catch, but even that led into a negative because it gave me flashbacks to when I used to watch a potent Titans offense where AJ Brown was able to go over everyone's heads, and that dang man John Robinson had to destroy the entire roster just because he refused to pay a man that deserved to be paid. You know, like it. I can't stress enough how much that loss hurt. Even the good moments led me back to bad moments. And I know that I sound very upset right now because I am now just thinking about it again. Because, like, at school today, a couple of people somewhat teased me about it, but, like, I was never full on, bullied about it. And I didn't think about it as much. Again, because I stopped watching, like, halfway through the fourth. I didn't think about it as much as I needed to. And that has led to this episode being a lot more sad than usual. And me being more upset than I usually am. Like, I'm not, like, passionately upset like I was in week one. And obviously, I'm not as excited as I was in week two, because week two was actually good. Man, I just please, I just want the Titans to be okay. That's all. Like, we could be absolutely awful next year, and I'd be completely fine with that, because that probably means that Ryan Tannehill left, and that Will Levis or both Will Levis and Malik Willis were absolutely awful. And I would have some optimism for the future. But if we're bad again this year, dude, it would be kind of worrying to me. But yeah, practice is not going to be fun for those guys. I just already know. Vrave seems really upset, and I'm willing to take a bet that he wants to make a change at offensive line, but we don't know who to put at left tackle apart from Andre Dillard. I thought Andre Dillard would be an improvement over Dennis Daly. Give me 1 second. Ugh, so much snot. He may actually be worse than Dennis Daly. I thought that you could not achieve that. I thought that that would be an unachievable mountaintop. We would be better off with Dennis Daly right now. Which is the weirdest thing that I feel like I've ever said on this channel. Because y'all know how much I don't like Dennis Daly. I think that he is one of the worst offensive linemen to ever play for the Tennessee Titans. But somehow Andre Dillard got worse. He's allowed 6 sacks on this trajectory. He's going to allow more sacks than Dennis Daly did. Now, granted, Dennis Daly did not have as much time to do his garbage as Andre Dillard does, which may make it worse, but dude, like I just hope that the offensive line gets better or Andre Dillard just something snaps in him and he bounces back and shows us why he was a first round pick a few years ago. But anyway, now we're going to move on to next week and the preview for that week. We play the Browns. No, not the Browns. AFC North rival, the Bengals. This game worries me, but I'm also a little optimistic about it because our backs are to the wall. Um, yeah, our backs are to the wall. We have a losing streak against Cincinnati, which makes me think that Vrabel is going to get those guys to just ram through the doors. It's a home game too. It makes me think that he is going to get those guys to burst through the door with a bang, and that we are going to crush the Bengals and reassert ourselves as the kings of the AFC South. Now, I just thought of a positive for the Browns game. When the Browns game was happening, there was a lot worse going on around the NFL. The Dolphins scored 70 points on the Broncos, so at least that didn't happen to us. And oh yeah, and the Jags got destroyed by the Texans. So, yep, those are your guys. Those were all your preseason. That was your preseason favorite, and now it looks like that the Colts are more likely to win the division than they are. Again, it's only 3 weeks. For sure, they could completely bounce back and prove me wrong. But week 1 was the only sign of flash that I saw on that team. Ever since then, it's just not been good. It's been really bad, actually. So, yeah. I'm really happy. I'm really happy about it. I hate the Jags more than most other teams. Like, I used to hate the Colts more because they were a problem, but now the Jags are a problem. I hate them more. Which upsets me because I love their head coach. I like their quarterback. It's just I can't pull for either of those guys because they are a rival and they are enemy number 1. Now, would I rather be a crappy team, lose the division, and get a good draft pick and spend it on an offensive lineman, a left tackle specifically? Yep, sure. Do I want to make the playoffs? Yes. I really want to make the playoffs. Like, I remember how that felt going to that Bengals game. All my hopes are on the table. And Tannehill throws 3 interceptions. Now, what I'm really hoping is that we can make it back to the playoffs, but this time Tannehill is out for revenge. He doesn't care who he has to hurt to get out of his way. He is going to absolutely destroy whoever is in his way. That brings us to Super Bowl. Now that's a fantasy and a half, honestly. That sounds like a movie script, if I'm being honest. That sounds like some type of Kurt Warner stuff. But like, yeah, we'll just have to see how the whole thing goes. Now, honestly, overall, I'm just hoping that we can beat the Bengals next week because we haven't done that in a while. But yeah. Anyway, so okay, so I have Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all under the same name as this. And I also have a YouTube for the podcast listeners where I do a little bit more than I do on the podcast. But I have but all of them are under the same name, the Titans Rundown. Also, this whole podcasting thing is a lot more of a grind than I expected. Like, I'm fighting through a sickness here, but that's what I love about this is that I can, like have a really bad nose, but still fight through it, so that way I can deliver y'all content. But like this whole thing is more of a grind than I expected. So if y'all could subscribe, that would be amazing, and hit the like button. Or if you're on the podcasting platform, like follow me on YouTube, on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, or do whatever else do whatever else is do whatever else is supposed to happen on the other podcasting services. But anyway, that's gonna do it for me. This has been a rundown of the Tennessee Titans. I love y'all, and tighten up.